Hi, everyone. This is Jason. Welcome back to the show. Joining me today is Ben Armstrong. You know him as Bitboy Crypto on Crypto Twitter and on YouTube. Ben, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. Definitely good to be on the show.
So I wanted to ask you for my first question is how did you first get into cryptocurrency?
Yeah. So for me, the way I got into cryptocurrency, it really lines up, I think, with what I really care about and I'm passionate about in cryptocurrency today. So the way that I got into crypto is I actually had a business. I actually closed it down this year. I did it for 7 or 8 years. I sold event tickets, concert tickets, sports tickets. In the beginning, it was very, very, very successful. Like I started it, and within a couple months, I was making way more than I was at my job, and that's when I started like becoming an entrepreneur and things like that, full time. But one of the things that occurred is, so with the ticket business, the way that I would post, or the way that I'd sell tickets is through Craigslist. So I would post my website's tickets onto Craigslist. People would go there and they would buy the tickets. Well, what happened is that I would start using an auto poster. So it would auto post the ads for me. So I got to where I was posting 800,000 ads a day on Craigslist. At one time I calculated I was about 1% of all Craigslist ads. I had 16 computers running all the software. However, running that type of software was against Craigslist terms of services. So they shut the website down of the company that sold the auto poster. And, basically since he lived in a different country, once they shut it down through ICANN, there was nothing they could do about it. They just had to start a new website and try to start over. And so the guy contacted me and is like, look, we want to keep this going. We think this is a great tool. I'm like, yeah, I definitely need it. So he said, I want to try this thing called Bitcoin. This would have been November of 2012. And so in December of 2012, I made my first Bitcoin purchase. I made several Bitcoin purchases during that first year, specifically for buying the software and paying my monthly fees and things like that. Wish I would have held on to the Bitcoin, but I had some extra in my account. I never in my wildest dreams thought of it as an asset, something I could invest in. I only looked at it as something I was using to purchase, which is ironically like what everybody wants Bitcoin to be now, right? Or what the maximalists want anyways. So one time I had some money left over in my account for my quarterly payment, and I went back in, and all of a sudden it was worth like thousands of dollars. And I was like, holy crap, this is really crazy. So I got really interested in it. I use local Bitcoins. I use Mt. Gox. I sold a lot of my Bitcoin at that point to a guy in McDonald's on the Wi-Fi in, I guess, early 2013, or maybe mid 2013, somewhere around there. But I didn't really understand what I was getting into. I just thought it was like, this is something I used. Oh, it went up in price. Because after Mt. Gox crashed, I thought the whole thing was over. I was like, sure enough, it's not a scam, but it's dead. I didn't think it would come back after that. Right. So I continued to watch it for a few years. In 2016, 2017, I really started getting more interested. I always watched it. I always had a Coinbase account. Well, once Coinbase opened, I had a Coinbase account and I would watch it through there. I would have, maybe a Bitcoin here or there. I would sell it when it went up, but didn't really invest in the community side of it until later on. But for me personally, the centralization of a place like Craigslist that's able to just in one swift decision, take a website down, and then later on they would make a change to the terms of services in my section that cut my income down about 90% over a few years from that business. So it cut it down about 60% overnight just by one decision. It was nothing I could fight. And, for me, like the power of centralization and things like that, like that's the thing that I love to fight, the centralization in cryptocurrency. So that's how I got into cryptocurrency. And then, what really interests me about it, like I said, I think it kind of ties in the way I got into it with what I'm really passionate about.
Right. So I wanted to ask you because of you've been on, we have crypto Twitter. So I'd like to think we also have crypto YouTube. And
absolutely.
And so you've been creating content on crypto YouTube for a few years now, as a Bitboy Crypto.
Almost two full years.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when did you decide to start making crypto related content on YouTube? What was it? Did you see like a need in the space, or a space that needed to be filled is maybe a better way to put it? How did you make that decision?
Well, I was talked into it. I was convinced that I should do it. Is really what happened. So, my friend and I in 2017, just like everybody else, we were addicted to crypto Twitter. I didn't have my own crypto Twitter account. I actually have a personal account, which nobody knows about. I don't ever use it anymore, but I basically got onto crypto Twitter with that personal account that I'd had for a long time. In early 2018, like right around the crash, my friend and I decided like we wanted to create a cartoon, an animated cartoon. There was nothing like it in the crypto space. And so we created this character, Bitboy, and he had a loyal sidekick whose name was Hodl. So it was Bitboy and Hodl. Hodl's like a turtle, he's like always slowing Bitboy down. We definitely still have plans to do the cartoon. It's all, slowed down a little bit, but I started learning how to animate. And what I found is the return, like the amount of views I was getting on a video for a YouTube channel that had no other content, it wasn't worth the time. I literally spent an entire 2-week period making a 5-minute episode.
Wow.
And what I found is it got several thousand views, but I had actually paid YouTube advertising. So I didn't pay like some sketchy place. I actually tried advertising on YouTube, and so it had like 4,000 views on it. But if I had not released it with the YouTube ads program, it probably would have got like 200 or 300 views on it at the most.
Right.
And it's hard to start a channel. I mean, it's very hard. And so my friend that came up with the idea with me, he said, listen, he said, I know you really want to do this cartoon. I want to do this cartoon. It's a great idea. Love what we're doing with it, but you're never going to be able to get traction on YouTube. And he said, we love at the time, like we watch Crypto Daily every day, still, like his videos. But I mean, as a content creator, you don't watch as many videos as if you're just a consumer. But Crypto Daily was somebody I really respected, and I really liked his style of videos. And my friend was like, man, you can make videos just like him. You can make news videos. You have a good way of explaining things to people that are complicated in a way that they can understand. So about March, April of 2018 is when I started doing news videos. So, it wasn't necessarily that I saw like, hey, there's a, need for more news videos. It was just like, I felt like I could put my own spin, my own perspective on things. And as a person that's been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I've done all kinds of stuff to make money on the internet, I just felt like I could add some value to what was already out there. And one thing that occurred during that time is that people actually started referring to me as Bitboy. They would come on my show for an interview, and they would just say, "Oh, hey, Bitboy." And so that's how it kind of, a lot of people refer to me as that. My name is Ben, but a lot of people refer to me as Bitboy, and that's kind of how that transition happened. So, but Bitboy Crypto now is more than just my channel. I have bitboycrypto.com. Coming out with the Bitboy Crypto News podcast, which is actually starting next Wednesday. So really excited about that. So all that falls under the Bitboy Crypto umbrella. So, hopefully one day people will see Bitboy Crypto is more of an entity and not necessarily like it's just me, if that makes sense.
Well, kind of like how Nerdist originally was Chris Hardwick, but then it became a channel,
Right.
and he switched over to his own handle instead of using that one. Oh, nice. So the animated character on your display, that's the character that was being.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's Bitboy. Now this right here, this right here is Bitboy. This is an upgraded version of Bitboy. This is not the original ones look basically like that, but it didn't have like the shadowing. This was actually done on crypto Twitter by a guy named money_alada. And he does like really cool Twitter banners for people and stuff like that. So he actually took my character and like upgraded it, makes him look like 10 times better. So got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And when we were at Crypto Invest Summit, you had a banner, and it really popped. I mean, you could see Bitboy Crypto loud and clear. If anyone is looking at some of my older videos, I interviewed Quinn from Mid-Earth Crypto, and we were in front of your banner, and you can see it's a very nice display that you had there.
Thank you.
So for my next question, I wanted to talk about a news topic. So yesterday, Mark Zuckerberg went back to Washington for his annual kick in the pants, and he went to he was basically testifying about Libra and the Libra Association, but most of that was basically 6 hours of regulators, you know, griping about Facebook's past.
Right.
And I wanted to ask your opinion about, do you think it would be a good idea for Libra if Facebook just stepped aside and say we're not in it anymore?
It's not possible. And the reason why I say it's not possible is because over the last couple of months, it's really come into clear vision what Facebook is trying to do with the Libra Association. There's a nice graphic. I can't remember what website it is on, but it shows all the connections between the different investors and the different members of the Libra Association back to Facebook. So it actually shows that even though there are different, members of the association that are not Facebook, that really Facebook is going to pull all the strings completely on it. So if they were to step back, the only way they would be able to do it is kind of as a shadow puppet kind of deal. So they would still really be running it with a company like Facebook and as many people that would know about it. I just don't think that's really possible. So I've been on record as saying I do not believe that Libra will launch. I was very bullish on Libra when it first came out. But once I really started seeing the government fight it and the government seeing it as an actual competitor to the US dollar, which is what Donald Trump's tweets were all about when he tweeted about Bitcoin, it was really geared towards Libra coin. They were much more scared of Libra coin than they are Bitcoin, which I don't know if they should be more scared of Libra coin than Bitcoin, but they are. And, so if Facebook is going to launch Libra, it's going to have to be much different because as soon as they start getting all that notoriety and all that attention from the Senate, from Maxine Waters, from Sherrod Brown, from Brian Schatz, all these guys in the government, of course, we already know Brad Sherman is, against Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general.
Yeah.
At that point, I really started shifting on what I thought was going to happen. So over about the last 6 weeks, I've said clearly, I do not believe it's going to launch. If it does launch, it will not launch in America, or it will be extremely different than the current, iteration of it that we've seen.
Right. That's what I've said also. The Mark Zuckerberg said something interesting yesterday where we won't launch until we have approval.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for these people to approve something that's going to be a direct competitor to the US dollar, you might as well just call it quits right now because they're not going to do it. I guess the fear on their part is they'll come after us the way they came after, like, say, EOS and had them pay whatever that was, 24 million, whatever.
Oh, they would take that. they would take that, 0.25% hit.
Right. It's like, well, my view of it is just do it. Just do it. And then, I mean, what's the saying? Is easier to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Unless you're Facebook, though, at this point, because I mean, have you read about the antitrust lawsuit they're facing?
Yeah, I saw that.
So they have enough government scrutiny on it, and to me, what's going on right now with Libra Coin is nothing compared to what's happening with this antitrust lawsuit. I think eventually, it's 47 lawyers are on this team against Facebook, almost an attorney from every state. Some states are still deciding whether they're going to, join it or not. It's led by the New York State attorney, Letitia James. But what is happening there is people are waking up to what Facebook has done. Yeah. Like it's been going on for 11 years that Facebook has really been, running short. What year did Facebook start? 2004, maybe? It wasn't
2005, something like that. It was well before Obama came on the scene.
Yeah, it was 2004, 2005, somewhere around there. So it's been running for almost 15 years. And really the first 5 years, they really weren't doing anything wrong. But once they started monetizing ads and things like that, that's when they shifted their entire focus to basically milking businesses to shift them from being able to get organic traffic through Facebook to where it's all paid. And so that antitrust lawsuit, and I think a lot of social media companies are going to end up facing some similar stuff. I think it's going to totally change social media. And I believe that Instagram is going to end up having to separate from Facebook. I think Facebook is going to lose Instagram through this.
Well, yeah. And a lot of the conversation yesterday really seemed like it was heading towards that whole we need to break up Facebook argument that is currently going around, and especially among the candidates for the Democratic nomination.
Yep.
Facebook has Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook itself, and there's another project. I want to say Oculus,
Yeah,
But
I think they do own Oculus. I think you're right on
yeah,
that. Yeah.
so yeah, so the idea that after all of this scrutiny, the antitrust lawsuit for particular, I don't think they're gonna. I mean, they may survive in the current form for a few more years, but
Oh yeah, yeah. This is
eventually
gonna drag on.
it's gonna, yeah, once that lawsuit gets settled, they'll probably have to either spin off or outright sell,
Yeah.
one of their arms. The question that I had though about that is most of that seems to be about what Facebook did in the past as opposed to what Libra is trying to do in the
Hmm.
future. It's
Yep.
basically you did this and this in 2016 and whatever, and now we're going to hold you to account. But
Yeah.
most of the questions had nothing to do with you're creating a digital currency that has a potential reach of 2.6 billion people. And, but it was mostly about, okay, in the past, ads have targeted specific groups. In the past, there's been meddling from foreign entities using your platform, things like that. You had a couple of people who did point out, their concern about money laundering and
Yeah.
financing criminal
That's all.
activity.
Whenever you hear money laundering, like that is basically code for, yeah, I have a big donor that's, in credit card transaction processing, or I have a big bank that's a donor. That's code for that because we all know that the U.S. dollar is the king of money laundering.
Right.
I mean, it's not even, the amount of money that's laundered through the U.S. dollar every single year through cash is bigger than the entire cryptocurrency market.
Exactly.
So, the fact that they would try to use that as something that's always code for something else, in my opinion. I mean, we saw it with the letter that was sent to Visa, MasterCard, and Stripe
Right.
from Representative I guess it's Senator, I think, Sherrod Brown, and also Senator Brian Schatz. They sent letters to those companies, and they actually, eh, whenever they're playing the fear card and the fear mongering card, like that's when there's something else at play.
Right.
Like they tried to actually say that Facebook Messenger is child porn, is
Right.
the argument that was laid out in those letters. So
And that
it's the
came up
same thing,
yesterday.
pulling the
That came out
strings.
yesterday too. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but you're never, and this kind of goes back to the issue of them looking for regulation, or approval. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, they're telling you right now they don't like you.
Hmm.
So, oh, I hate everything you stand for, but go ahead and make a digital currency.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Like, you think that's going to happen? You know?
Well, now it's a pissing match at this
Right.
point. I mean that's what it's really turned into. It's not about it's about how much power does Mark Zuckerberg have. That's
Right.
what this is about. 100%.
Yeah, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
Which leads to my next question about the current market, the crypto market. So right now, I'm looking at CoinCap from Shapeshift, and Bitcoin is at $7,521. So it's
Oh,
been,
it is. Oh,
yeah.
dang.
So
I have a short. I need it to go down.
well, I'm looking at the alts are actually doing better, like today, I guess is the
Yeah.
best way to put it. But do you think the Libra hearings and Bitcoin futures and backed and all that stuff is having an effect on the price? Because uh, CoinDesk put out a article, I believe it was yesterday, where the former chair of the financial, I believe it was a financial
The
services,
CFTC.
yeah, said that the government orchestrated the bubble in 2017, the bursting of the Bitcoin bubble, whereas it was at almost $20,000 per Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so they said we had to step in and do something because we didn't want to recreate the financial crisis of 2008. Like, do you think that there's some type of government hand causing this? Or, well, a better question would be, do you think the government made it possible for these kind of drops to happen?
It reminds me of in football, right? American football, the only kind. There's a move the offensive linemen use. It's called pulling the chair out. It's where a guy is leaning up against you and pushing, and all you do is you just step back and you let his momentum carry him to the ground.
Mm.
And it sounds like to me that's what, if this story is true and they're not just tooting their own horn and trying to say like, here's another victory for Donald Trump. Um, then that seems to be what they did. They said, you know what? Okay, Bitcoin. Okay. All right. You're $20,000. There's a lot of people that are heavily invested in this thing. This thing is getting all this media attention. It could rival the stock market. Okay, let's do this. Let's just approve some of the big heavyweight investors on Wall Street, and we'll just move out of the way. We'll just say, okay,
Right.
we won't fight you. Here, you want people to invest in it? You want Wall Street in? You want big money in? Here, we'll let them. And then they come in, and what do those people do? They push the price down because your normal crypto investor is already overextended, way overextended. Because we all say don't invest more than you can lose. But for people that came in 2017 and 2018, that is not true. We know people came in and absolutely got wrecked. And so the institutions can wait years. And I mean, I'm very concerned about the future of this market, honestly. Not over the long term, like over the next few years, but over the next 1 year. I mean, the greatest trick they could ever pull is keeping the price down up until the halving or the halvening, because if there's no price pump leading up to the halvening, we're going to see capitulation like we have never seen before. You think the drop to $3,000 was bad? You wait until the price stays at 6,000 and it doesn't go up when the halvening happens. People will give up left and right. Fact is, we don't have an old enough market to really make any decisions about what the price could do. I mean, you look at a 10-year market, that's a blip on the radar compared to most anything. Especially when you look at the volatility of what Bitcoin's done over that 10-year period. We've never had anything we can really compare this to. So if they're able to come in and keep the market down, the people invested, that are doing custody on Backed, some of that big money, some of these big investment funds, they can wait years before the price goes back up. They don't mind accumulating for years because guess what? While you are hoping that you may be able to get a new car out of this in 3 years from now, they've got everything they already want, so they have no urgency to send the price back up.
Right. Well, and then that goes into the question of all of these people who for 2014 up to 2016, 2017 were wait till the institutionalized money comes in and wait till these people show up.
The meme, institutional money.
Right. And as soon as that started, I was like, I don't think that's what you want, because what they're going to do, well, I mean, if you think about it in terms of the traditional stock market, and I know crypto isn't the same because we have a 24-hour clock. We don't close. But the mentality, you shouldn't just negate the mentality of an investor, because when an investor sees their investment get to a certain level, their first inclination is sell it. So that's what people did, and like you said, these institutions come in, they have money to spare. They're not worried about Bitcoin. They have Apple and all these other conglomerates that they've already invested in. So this is like a side project to them. But to you and me, who have a more, on the ground view of Bitcoin, the price going up and down is a concern. But the people who were clamoring for banks to get involved in Bitcoin and institutions,
they're the people that their bags are down 95% and they want anything. They don't care what it is, anything that can make my bags go up. That's all they care about. So if that's the thing that is the flavor of the week that's going to push the price up, then they're all for it. They're not really looking at the bigger picture of the long-term effects of the institutional investors coming in. And that's what's so hard about doing a channel where I talk crypto news, is that like, I don't want this institutional money coming in, honestly. Like, and people are like, oh, that's the only way it's going to get to X, Y, and Z. I'm like, it wasn't here when the price went to all-time high before. And only a fraction of the people that could invest were invested. So it could also be very high, but those are the exact type of people that we're trying to keep out. Like, that's the centralization I want to fight, But at the same time, like, I have to report on those stories and I have to put positive spins on them sometimes, because it's like, okay, if 90% of people want this, then I got to report this like, hey guys, this is what you want. It's coming, So it's really hard, as a content creator, trying to balance out, trying to like what my own personal beliefs are and then what is popular and what people want to hear. Because, I mean, I could already have 100,000 subscribers if I just said XRP to the moon every day. But I don't know.
Or that a certain individual created Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I've run into that issue myself where my personal view is decentralization is best. Bitcoin should
Mhm.
be its own thing, not entangled with the financial markets. But that's not well, currently anyway, that's not where the main
Not
sentiment
reality.
is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's also not reality. I mean, it's the Pandora's box. I mean, it's been open now. Like there's, I had John McAfee on my podcast, and I said, well, what are we supposed to do now? Like it's here, and he was like, we continue to fight it. Go protest on the streets. I'm like it sounds good, like that sounds good, but it's here. They have the bitcoins,
right,
or
right.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say bitcoins. They have the Bitcoin, you
Well,
know,
if you
and
think that the
there's no getting rid of it.
but you have when you have these entities that are out there that you don't even know they exist and they're already inside the market doing whatever, you're never going to get that volatility never goes away,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people also get scared with that. That's why you have so many stable coins coming out now. People
Well, I
promise.
mean, did you see the news? See the news about stable coins?
Yeah.
I mean, where the government is trying to classify those as securities. I mean, we just can't win.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
that's why now I just like to leverage trade. Like that's all I'm concerned about right now. I'm leverage trading, using Bybit. You guys can use my link, bybit.bitboy.live, if you want to get wrecked and do some degenerate gambling. Because the truth is, the volatility is still here, and all you really got to do with leverage trading, it's very difficult. But all you got to do is try to be on the right side of that volatility, and you can make a lot of money. Whereas, I mean, with the Bitcoin price, with where it is, and just my thing is the Bitcoin price. Unfortunately, over the last few months, I've come to realize there's a chance. I still think the price is going to go up before the halving. I think we'll be back at all-time highs, maybe January. I think it's going to happen fast when it happens,
Mm.
but it also might not happen. For a long time, I didn't think that was even an option. That like by 2022, we won't be way up in the sky. But the fact is, with these institutional investors coming in, it changes the precedent of the market. It changes everything we've seen in the past for Bitcoin. And I don't know if it's going to go up or not. And because of that, I'm trying to find places myself where I can make money whether the price is going up or down. And, another thing that I'm doing, which also, you have a channel as well, is just a quick story you guys may not know, is that, the people during the gold rush that made the most money were not the people that went out to pan for gold. The people that
Right.
went out to pan for gold, 90% of those people did not find any. The 10% that did, some of them made a good amount of money, but who made the most money were the people that were selling the shovels, the pickaxes, and the flashlights. And a
Right.
lot of people don't know this, but the company that was actually doing that started as a business selling supplies for the gold rush, that I think we would all argue is the biggest winner in the entire gold rush, is Wells Fargo.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
So
they were
now,
transporting the gold. Yeah.
yeah, so now Wells Fargo is a huge corporation with all this money because they were trying to help people make the money, and it didn't matter if they found gold themselves. So I think as content creators and as people that are in the space, if you want to be sustainable in this industry, you can't just be like, well, I'm just going to wait for the Bitcoin price to go to $100,000,
Right.
because it may not happen. So you got to look for other opportunities and ways to do that. So, I've definitely tried to position myself in a lot of ways to have some passive income, and different ways where I can sell you guys some shovels. So I'll sell you guys a Bybit flashlight if y'all want.
There you go. Well, all right. Let me. Yeah, that's actually a very great point because there's a quote, and I'll link it in the description, that basically says that the people who made the real money were the people who created the environment for
Yeah.
the gold miners to pass their gold from point A to
Mhm.
point B. The shovel sellers, the Levi Strauss, that's how he got famous. That's how
Oh,
that
interesting.
Levi's
Yeah.
were worn by cowboys and gold miners because they were rugged.
Yeah.
So that right there is an example of creating a
Great example.
item that people in the space use, and you don't actually have to get out there and get dirty with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
yeah,
But if somebody returns the jeans and they left a gold nugget in their pocket,
even
then
better.
hey, you know,
Well, it's like if you lose your ledger and you had a couple of Bitcoin on it, someone just got rich once they figured out the seed.
that's right.
My last question is, what advice, not financial advice, we don't do that, would you give someone who's just starting out on crypto YouTube and wanted to start a channel? Like, what do you think are some of the things that um, a person should avoid and also should try to do to get their name out there? What do you think?
Well, first thing is it's very difficult. It is very difficult to start a channel in this market. When I started my news videos, the bear market had already set, and there's a market difference between those who started before the bull run and those who started after. When you look at the amount of subscribers, I've actually outgrown a lot of YouTubers that I've outpaced them in the bear market. Like I add more, percentage wise to my total number of followers or subscribers than even some of the biggest channels do. But the thing is, they got that huge follower pump during the bull run.
Hmm.
So it's very hard to grow a channel. People think it's easy. People think, oh, well, you know what? I'll just start a channel. I'll start making videos. I'll start getting subscribers left and right. Oh, I got 1,000 followers on Twitter. Even if half those people come and subscribe to my channel, well, only about 10 of them are going to come subscribe to your channel. Only about 10 of those 1,000 followers that you have are going to come follow your channel.
Yeah.
And there was one guy who I had talked to who he decided he was going to give away $1,000. Like during he started his channel. He's like, I'm going to give away $1,000 in this certain cryptocurrency. And over the first 4 or 5 videos, I'm going to pump this contest and I'm going to get up. He thought he was going to get up to 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, like just giving away $1,000. I think he had like 25 people enter the contest. He had to give $1,000 away when he only added 25 subscribers from it.
That.
And to my knowledge, after that, he pretty much quit the channel. I haven't seen anything out of that guy anymore. And so it's not easy. YouTube is a very difficult, thing to tackle. But if you have the mindset of you're in it for the long term, there were a lot of times where I could have quit easily, seeing what some of these other people have as subscriber numbers. And so some people that I feel like I do similar things to, but like they just grow out of control. And like I seem to be, kind of stuck in my own little progression, which is a fine progression, but certainly wish it was faster.
Mm.
If you're not in for the long haul, then do not start it. Second thing I would say is you got to be passionate, very passionate about cryptocurrency, because people see through it when you're not. They see through like, I'm just in this to make money. And a lot of YouTubers have been hit by that over the bear market, where people can see like, they really weren't in this for, what they said they were.
Right.
And, anyone who's made content consistently through the bear market, like daily videos or at least a few weekly videos, I mean, those people are legit. This is hard, so I would definitely say you got to have a good mentality for the long term. You have to be passionate about it. I had a YouTube channel before in an area I wasn't passionate about, and it was a total disaster. And I hated making videos every day. With cryptocurrency, I still enjoy making videos. Those would be probably the 2 most important things. The third thing I would say is Gary Vee, who I'm not like a huge Gary Vee guy or whatever. But he does love TikTok, and so do I. I've been saying TikTok is going to be like the biggest thing ever since about he has. So we do have that in agreement. But Gary says one thing that I feel like is very important. He says, just go create. Like if you want to make content, create it. The more you sit around thinking about what you're going to do and planning out what you're going to do and trying to do it perfect, you're going to fail, because if you put, 2 months into learning how to be a great YouTuber before you start your channel, you're going to think that when you start, it should just explode, and it's still not going to happen. Right. So there's very few people. You might as well win the lottery if you think you're just going to start a channel and it's going to explode. The best thing is trial and error. Learn how to make content. Just start making it. Make mistakes along the way. When you make mistakes, learn from them. I made a ton of mistakes, but you know what? I look at some of my older videos and cringe. Like, man, I can't believe I thought that was a good camera, or I can't believe I thought that was good, or I find little things that I said that I'm like, that actually isn't even right what I said,
Right.
But I got it all out there and I just own it. And, I just be myself. That's really important as well. Find your voice and be yourself. So those are tips I would give to someone wanting to start a channel. So
Nice. Well, I want to thank you, Ben, for coming on the show today and doing this interview with me. For everyone who is interested in what Ben and Bitboy Crypto is up to, I'm going to link their information in the description below, the website. Also, Ben on Twitter, crypto Twitter. Once again,
I'm not
Ben,
on regular Twitter.
There's no such thing as regular Twitter.
No, it doesn't exist.
We live inside the dumpster fire.
That's right. Everything is fine.
Everything's fine. Well, once again, thank you, Ben, so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, Jason.